Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 269 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish was requested by a member of you, the Fishy Crew, and it honestly surprised me. I had never done a Fish Friday on this fish. It's actually mind-boggling. I know I have talked about this fish, but sorry, I'm turning the microphone down. But we have yet to actually talk about this fish. It's crazy to me. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is the Texas cichlid, or Rio Grande cichlid. Now, the Texas cichlid, or scientific name Herichthys cyanogotatus, again, that's Herichthys cyanogotatus, or if you're a little older like me, Herichthys cyanogotatum. But this fish is beautiful. It is part of the family Cichlidae, which is the family of cichlids. Now, the Texas cichlid is native to southern Texas and northern Mexico. It doesn't have an extremely large native range, but it was primarily found in the lower Rio Grande drainage. But it's also found in Nuevo Leon and Tamaulipas in Mexico. It will get up into south central Texas, including the Rio Grande, San Antonio, and Nueces river systems. But it has been introduced to other parts of the southern United States, Florida and Louisiana, and it is invasive in parts. And there are some people that argue saying that it shouldn't even be in the San Antonio or Nueces river systems. I'm a little hesitant on the Nueces, and I'm flippy-floppy on the San Antonio river basins. Essentially, I think it was native to the Nueces river system, and the San Antonio river system, I'm like, I think it's native, but I could easily believe that it wasn't, and it just got sort of introduced. Because this fish has been very popularized, especially throughout the hill country. But it is definitely here now, and they do exist sort of naturally. Now, in terms of where you're going to find this fish, you're going to find these in warm, slower to moderately flowing freshwater streams, rivers, creeks, lakes, reservoirs. It kind of just lives in Texas rivers. They can do sandy bottoms, they can do muddy bottoms, they like submerged roots, they like rocks. They're very, very adaptable, which is why they have all the characteristics of an invasive species, except for they seem to not tolerate cold too well, and I think they are very bad at tolerating wide swings in temperature. So even if you have the warm waters in the summer, if you get really cold in the winter, they don't handle that change in temperature too well. So essentially think of like, southern Texas, northern Mexico sort of river systems that are going to be really stable in temperatures, very just stable. So really temperature is the only sort of caveat to their wide range of conditions that they can be found in. Now, in terms of size, this would be kind of like that medium-sized freshwater fish. I saw that they can get up to 30 centimeters, which is around 12 inches in length. That's a very, very large one. But I definitely have seen them get up 10 inches, and that wouldn't be like uncommon. So I have seen some on the bigger side. But it does have this incredibly striking coloration. I've always called this sort of like a galaxy pattern, just like the blue spots going throughout the entire body. A little bit darker background. You can see here, this one's really striking. This one is also striking, but that sort of luminescent blue with that silvery grayish green body. That's, you know, what I kind of think of when I think of this. Once you see a couple of these, it's pretty hard to mistake it for anything else. Especially, I couldn't find a good picture, but a lot of time, actually, this is a fine picture right here. Nope, that's why I didn't choose that one. It was small. Here we go. This is how you're going to see it in the wild a lot of times. A little paler on the spots, especially outside of breeding, and then these black bars on the backside of the body, or those black bars sort of congealing into spots. You know, that's really, I'm kind of looking for these spots. They're really easy. Even when they're babies, they're actually a little bit easy, because if most of you don't know, sunfish and cichlids are some of the hardest species to identify when they're extremely small babies, fry. But the Texas cichlid seems to always have that sort of barring and spots on there. Plus, when you tack on, it's got this extremely elongated dorsal fin, a fairly long and pointed anal fin with some anal fin spines. It's actually fairly large. Sorry, I need to see what is going on at work. Things are crazy. So yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And actually the spotting is where it's got its name, cyanoguttatus, which means blue spotted. Males sometimes will get a nuchal hump, which is this kind of bump on the front right here. Females won't really get that. They're usually a bit smaller as well, but essentially they have this beautiful coloration. I think this is beautiful even outside of breeding. Pretty large fleshy lips, large eyes. I mean, it's a beautiful fish. I don't think anyone can deny it. And they are fairly intelligent as fish goes. Very territorial during breeding. Very, very territorial. These are, like most, if not all the cichlids, they are substrate spawners that do exhibit pretty good parental care. And both the males and females will actually take care of the young. And essentially they'll clean a flat rock surface, and the female will lay a bunch of eggs and the male will fertilize, and then both parents will sort of take turns guarding and fanning the clutch of eggs, keeping intruders away. And they just, you know, like cichlids do, they exhibit a lot of parental care, which a lot of people are not, still to this day are not familiar with, that fish do actually exhibit parental care. Now, in terms of their feeding habits, they're pretty omnivorous. Essentially, they're going to eat anything they can get their mouth around. Insects, crustaceans, plants, detritus, decaying materials. Smaller fish, like they're kind of, you know, voracious. They're omnivorous, but they're pretty voracious. And something interesting to note, when they're in aquariums, they have an extremely complex social hierarchy that is constantly changing. Body displays, fin flarings. It's one of the neat things about this fish that if it was a little bit smaller, this would probably be one of my number one fish for people in Texas that are looking to get into aquariums to do if they wanted to go with like native fish. It can be really beautiful watching all of them interact with each other and how they're, you know, fighting each other and just claiming this territory and that territory. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. But for the interesting fact we're going to end the video on. Oh, sorry. First off, I should talk about the aquarium. Tricked you. Not the interesting fact, but the aquarium side of things. These are actually fairly prevalent in the aquarium trade, and they got extremely popular, I believe, in the 1980s throughout the entire United States. It was just you could almost call it like an aquarium fad. Everyone wanted these, which is why it got so spread out across the southern United States, because it just people wanted their aquariums. And it didn't help that these species can interbreed with other cichlid species, especially the native ones, like the one from Mexico. I believe that's what I think some people call it the red Texas cichlid, which is a hybrid and not a true Texas cichlid. And there's another one, can't remember, but this all ties kind of into the interesting fact that, it can interbreed with that species from Mexico to get that red coloration, but that is not native to Texas, essentially. But for the interesting fact we're in the video on, and one of the reasons why this fish is really neat, is this fish is the Texas cichlid, or Rio Grande cichlid, is the only cichlid species native to the United States. We've talked about cichlids in the past, apistogrammas, things like that, tilapia, which tilapia is completely prevalent throughout the world. But this is actually, you could almost think of it as the North American tilapia. And some people would even confuse this with tilapia if they didn't know what they were looking at. But this species is native to the United States, and it's the only cichlid species native to the United States. Extremely neat animal, and the fact that it's the only species of its kind native to the US, I think makes it even more striking. And you combine that with the fact that it's not only popular in aquariums and popular for fly fishing. People will come to Texas literally just to go fly fish for the Texas cichlid, whereas a lot of native Texans catch this fish and immediately throw it back, and sometimes view it as a trash fish because they don't like it. I should also mention they're actually absolutely delicious to eat. They're wonderfully delicious to eat. But I've always loved endemic species and things like this, and those little interesting facts. It's always good to know. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. If you'd like to support the channel, please click the link down below. It is by no means expected, but very much appreciated. Regardless, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and peace.